Om Agyantimirandhasya Gyananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya-manubhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajata Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitam Cha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyeva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukham Karoti Vachalam Pangum Angayate Virim Yat Kripa Tamaham Bande Shri Gurun Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Panchatattvamakam Krishnam Bhaktarupa Sarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam. So today we are reviewing the 14th chapter. The connection between chapter 13 and 14, Arjuna desired to know about Prakriti. We saw 6 questions. What is Kshetra? What is Kshetragya? What is Prakriti? What is Purusha? What is Gyana? What is Geya? Krishna explains in the second last section we discussed the Jiva, the Prakriti and their interaction, and how when a living entity comes in contact with the 3 modes, it takes birth in good or auspicious or inauspicious species of life, 8.4 million species of life. So from there, that is verse 32, Karanam Guna Sangosya, Sad Asad Yoni Janmashu. And based on continuation, how the living entity comes in contact with the 3 modes, why he comes in contact with the 3 modes, how do we identify which mode is acting on us, what is the result of acting in such a mode, how one can transcend the mode, what are the characteristics and behavior of one who has transcended the mode. Everything is covered in this chapter. The liberation and conditioning of the living entities. This describes how a living entity falls in contact with the three modes. Then what the mode does to living entity, they binds him. Different modes binds him differently. That is explained. Actually, it is 5 to 9, and then it is 10 to 13. Then recognizing which mode is superior in us based on the characteristics of the three modes, one can identify and how the three modes are fighting for superiority or they are constantly changing. Then what is the result of action? What the action in these modes respond? Nashing Prabhu, can you hold 1 second? Hmm. So um, yeah, acting and dying. What is the effect of dying? What is the result when we act in these three modes, and what are the destination when we die in a one of the prominent modes? And then the last section is what are the symptoms, characteristics of one who has transcended, and those who have not transcended, how can they go beyond the three modes? What is the destination one attained after um, the the transcending the three modes? Now, liberation and conditioning of living entities. This is the first one. One who understands this chapter attains freedom from cycle of birth and death, because the reason we are in the cycle is because of the effect of three modes. All the sages thus attain perfection by attaining my nature. Basically, they attain Krishna's abode, or a spiritual destination. It can be either Brahman, Paramatma, or Bhagavan, but they go beyond. How the living entity becomes entrapped, the Lord puts him there by his potent glance and thus impregnates the material nature with the seed. So Lord glances at Prakriti, material nature, and the seed, and that's how we are put into the womb of material nature. Material nature is compared to the mother, supplying living entity with the body. Material nature gives the body. Prabhupada, this is the translation what Krishna speaks. Prabhupada gives an example. Scorpion lays its egg in rice, but the rice is not the cause of the scorpion. Prabhupada says sometimes people say the scorpion take birth from the rice, but they don't take birth from the rice. The mother scorpion lays some eggs in the rice, and from those eggs comes. Likewise, this refutes that material nature is the cause of birth. Sometimes people say, well, I am this body, or I am earth, water, fire. I'm so, or I'm made of matter. I'm material by nature. So, although we appear to take birth in the material world, we are not the product of the material world. Just like the scorpion appears to take birth in the rice, does not mean comes from the rice. Comes the seed is given by the scorpion itself. Likewise, we are spiritual, and the seed is given by the ultimate spiritual, or the source of all spiritual personalities, and that is Krishna. So actual seed is given by Krishna. Then this verse also comes here, Aham Bija Pradapita, I am the seed giving father. I give to the material nature. Uh, and material nature binds the living entity with the three modes. That's how we come in contact with the three modes. Krishna puts us in here, and that's how we become covered. Then this is one of the famous verse, Mama Yonir Mahad Brahma, Tasmin Garbham Dadamyaham Sambhava Sarvabhutana. So Mama Yonir Mahad Brahma. Why we put the Sanskrit here is Mahad Brahma. Um, Material nature referred to as great Brahman. So there are references, three references to Brahman. In the 8th chapter, Arjuna asks 8 questions. One of the question he asks is, what is Brahman? And Krishna says the living entities are called Brahman. Then Arjuna, after Chatushloki Bhagavad Gita, which is from 8, 9, 10, 11, the reaction of the Chatushloki Bhagavad Gita is Arjuna refers to Krishna as Param Brahma, Param Dhamma, Pavitram Paramam Mama, that he is Param Brahma. So the Lord is also referred to as Param Brahma. Prabhupada says Krishna can be referred to as Param Brahma, Krishna can be referred to as Brahman also. There is a reference from Bhagavatam 1 to 6, which is Vadanti Tattato Vidastatvam Yad Jnanam Advayam Brahmeti Paramatmeti Bhagwan Iti Shabdyate. The absolute truth, non-dual substance, absolute truth can be realized in three features, Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagwan. So there the absolute truth is referred to as Brahman also. Arjuna refers to Krishna as Param Brahma, to Param Brahman, to differentiate between Brahman and Para Brahman. Prabhupada also says in the purport in that Para Brahman, Param Brahma, that the God and Jiva are not on the same level. That's why Jiva is referred to as Brahman. God is referred to as Para Brahman, which the mistake the impersonalists do that they are same. But referring to God as Brahman is also perfect. Jiva can also be referred to as Brahman, and Pradhan or the material nature can also be referred to as Brahman. So here the material nature is referred to as Brahman. Mama Yonir Mahad Brahma. Prabhupada says, great Brahman. Tasmin Garbham Dadami Am. Garbha is the womb. And in that Tasmin Aham, I put the seed. And what happens? Sambhava. Sambhav means made possible. Sambhava Sarva Bhutana. All living entities are made possible in the womb of material nature, which is referred to as Mahad Brahma. And that's how our transfer from Krishna takes place to this material world through the glands, as these 4 verses describe. And then material nature gives us a physical body, which is made up of 3 modes, and hence we are bound by 3 modes also. Okay, so another thing is, I think we discussed earlier, soul. Prabhupada says Atma can refer to soul, can refer to body, can refer to mind, can refer to ego. Atma can refer to anything based on context. Likewise, Brahman can refer to living entities, can refer to material nature, can refer to Krishna based on the context. So here Mahad Brahma is I put into the garb, into the womb of Mahad Brahma, which is referred here to as material nature. Okay, any discussion here? All right, then this is the summary, the working of the 3 modes. There is mode of good. Actually, this is kind of summary of the entire chapter. We will see the summary and then we will elaborate on the coming slides. What is the binding force in mode of goodness, mode of passion, mode of ignorance? Mode of goodness binds one to happiness. Person goodness feels satisfied. because misery comes from sinful activities. So he is bound by knowledge. Now we may think that knowledge is illuminating, but actually, person in mode of goodness, the knowledge referred here is not transcendental knowledge, but it is the knowledge of the material world. Like if I perform, like if I perform, person mode of goodness sees things as they are. The word uses prakashayati, or their intellect is illuminated by knowledge. They know, like there's an example given, a doctor in mode of goodness. A patient comes and he says, well, I eat these things and this is the reaction. Or in front of a spiritualist, somebody comes, so I had a illicit relationship and these are the reaction. So person in mode of goodness, he learns by seeing. He knows what is right and what is wrong. He avoids sinful activities. He does not run after attachment, because he knows how everything leads to misery. He is satisfied. So he is bound by a sense of happiness, bound by satisfaction, bound by knowledge. Because if he meets a, say, a bhakta, then bhakta says this material world is like this, and then person mode of goodness says, yeah, I know all these things, because he's seeing it. Um, and then a person in mode of goodness is bound by superiority complex. He thinks, I am better than others. He thinks, oh, these people are in passion, or these people are in ignorance, or they are sinful. They are like this, they are like this. I am better. A pure devotee does not have any of these. I mean, he is not bound by happiness, he is bound by service. He is satisfied, but he is not looking after his satisfaction. He is looking after serving the Lord in whichever situation. He is in knowledge, but he does not think that he is great knowledge. Like we see Prabhupada saying, Vednai in the song in Jaladuta, he says, I have no knowledge, but somehow you have given me the name Bhakti Vedanta. Now it is up to you whether to or not to fulfill the purpose of the name you have given me. Bhakti nahi, Ved nahi, and he says, I don't have any of these things. So this is how a pure devotee thinks. And pure devotee does not have superiority. Prabhupada speaking about, we heard many times, there is Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, Pasanas. Who are you, Prabhupada? I am servant of all. So he thinks, he sees good quality in others, and then he sees how one good quality in others, he sees how others are better than him, and he does not think he is better than anybody. He just thinks that everyone is spirit soul. Love of Krishna is there in the heart of all living entity. I am not better than anyone. I am just fortunate to have received this knowledge through my spiritual master. I am grateful. Let me serve my spiritual master by sharing this knowledge with others. But that does not make me better than anyone, because on absolute platform, no one is superior to anyone, because everyone is spirit soul, everyone is pure, everyone has a deep love for Krishna. It's just matter of a few years. If they give up sinful activities, practice bhakti, they will revive their original consciousness. So a devotee never thinks he's better, but a person in mode of goodness, he thinks he's better than others. So he's bound by these things. Person in mode of passion is bound by attachment to fruitive activities. He works hard and he works for gain, works for benefit. Then he is binds by the ropes of desire and attachment. Um, he is bound by the rope of desire. He works hard. He does not work selflessly. He works to attain a particular result, and he works really hard for that. So he's bound by that desire to attain something. And he is bound by that attachment. I want it. and his enthusiasm comes from the results. When the results are not according to his expectation, becomes angry, frustrated. That's why it said mode of passion leads to misery. Mode of passion is not service based, it's enjoyment based, attachment based, result based. Then mode of ignorance is bound by madness, indolence, and sleep. This we will cover in more detail in one of the what does madness means. Laziness we know, always sluggish, and if you ask him to do something, he says, "I'm too busy." Like there is a saying, if you want to get something done, then ask those who are the busiest people. They will say, "Yeah, we have time, we can do it." But if you ask those who have nothing to do, they will say, "Oh, we are very busy." They will not do it. So we will see more on what does madness means. Madness means they, um, like Prabhupada says, who is a mad person? One who doesn't know who he is. Like a mad person, somebody goes and sees him in a asylum, a mad hospital. He says, "I'm a president of America." So he's mad because he's thinking something he is who he is not. So Prabhupada said madness means, I'm this body. I can enjoy in this material world. I can be happy here. These are my plans. That's how this is all madness. Um, because he does not understand he's part and parcel of Krishna. He can be happy in relationship with Krishna. It's also referred to as illusion. He's bound, the result is illusion. So this is the binding forces, what binds. But for devotees, very careful because most of the devotees are bound by goodness because they usually give up activities of passion and ignorance. But the feeling of superiority, bound by happiness, bound by knowledge, one should be careful with those things. But at the same time, in this material world, it is described no modes is pure. We have one mode prominent, but we have symptoms of other modes also. And these modes makes us miserable. It is described person who is beyond modes is neutral, unaffected, absorbed in the principle of service. But the reason we go through these ups and downs, happiness and frustration and misery and joy modes. Person beyond modes also enjoy, but transcendentally. Person in the three modes, even in Krishna consciousness, enjoys the result of his Krishna conscious endeavor. Again, it is bhakti in the modes. Then there is characteristics and manifestations. Goodness illuminates the gates of the body with knowledge. We will see more understanding of these terms from purports, but this is a summary of the entire senses. The senses are in knowledge means senses knows how to act, how not to act, how to engage, how not to engage. So senses are illuminated with knowledge, proper use, and senses are kept clean. Frees one from sinful reactions because does not engage in sinful activities, so no sinful reaction. Passion, characteristics of passion, intense, unlimited desire and longing. I want it, I want it, I want it. Hankering, great attachment. And then fruitive work means he works for that fruit. So these are the characteristics. Hard work for um, aiming towards the result. Mode of ignorance, delusion, illusion, we saw. Misidentification of who one is. Darkness, madness, inertia. And we'll see them more. Inertia is also like characteristic of inertia is doesn't want to do anything. like sleeping. Hey, get up! You have to do these things. Let me sleep some more. So inertia means hard to. Madness, illusion, similar. Darkness doesn't know what is right, what is wrong, what to do, what not to do, how to act, how not to act. Like person intoxicated becomes mad. Then destination is at death. Higher planets are three planet, lower planets. Ignorance. Um, Two times Krishna says one goes to hell, another goes to animal species, either ways. Then result of action of goodness becomes pure. Pure in the sense, not like a pure devotee, pure in a sense, freedom from sinful activities because he understands what is right, what is wrong. So he starts living a pure life. And knowledge sees things as they are. He can understand this person is trying to attain happiness through this way. It's simply hard labor, and you gain little bit. And even if you gain little bit with such a hard labor, you cannot enjoy that. And then you spend whatever you gain in these endeavors, which are also in passion ignorance. So he's not attracted by those things. He sees things as they are and he's happy, satisfied with himself. Elevation to higher planets. Then passion leads to misery because goal oriented activities with great expectations, great attachments, great longing, desire, hankering, and they don't meet. He doesn't get what he wants and he's frustrated. Unnecessarily, he finds fault, criticizes, becomes miserable, gives pain to himself, gives pain to others. Not a passion. Greed, want more material results. Then he again comes back. Why? Because he has a longing to do great activity and gain results. Then come back to Earth and perform great activities again. Higher planets, they don't work hard actually. Like it is said, Indraloka, after above Indraloka, Janalok, Mahalok, Taplok, Brahmalok, all are mode of goodness, sages. Live in the forest, no like material amenities, no cars, no houses. It's like they have their own plane in mode of goodness, saints and sages, perform spiritual practices, goodness, everything goodness. But here, earthly planet is like, work hard, karma. There, focus. Ignorance, the result of their action is foolish, life in hellish planet, illusion, madness. Okay. Any questions so far? Okay. Then the modes bind the pure soul. The living entity comes in contact with material nature and becomes conditioned by it. His pure spirit soul, through the glance, transferred to the womb of material nature, becomes bound and becomes conditioned by the three modes. And then his cycle of birth and death begins. The fault The fault which causes soul's conditioned state rests in his own independent desire. And why he is put in that situation? He wants to enjoy independent. He is happy with the Lord, serving the Lord, but now he wants to become independent. So he is born, he is put into the three modes. Now, three modes will put us into illusion or delusion and badness and false identification, false ego. And now you are independent, play. So because of this, he's put because he wants to be put, independent enjoyer. We cannot blame Krishna any more than a criminal can blame a judge for his jail sentence. Prabhupada gives this from the purport. Now we will discuss a lot, some expansion and illuminations on what we discussed in the chart from purport, from Prabhupada's reflections on them. A criminal cannot blame a judge. Hey, why did you put me here? Why? You are a criminal. So likewise, a living entity cannot question Krishna. Why did you put me in three modes? Well, it was your desire, Prabhu. Three types of conditioned living entities: happy, active, and helpless. Prabhupada's uh, English translations. Prabhupada says happy, mode of goodness; active, mode of passion; helpless, mode of ignorance. Then representative of type of goodness, Brahmana, and we know Kshatriya are goodness and passion. Uh, then Vaishya are passion and ignorance, and Shudras are ignorance. Then the best example of goodness, Prabhupada says scientist, philosopher, poet, mostly goodness, because makes them think like, if we see one of the characteristic of uh, goodness is prakashayati, illuminated. Um, Illuminated means they see things as they are in knowledge. So when they are in knowledge, when they see things as they are, then they write books like Stephen Covey, Seven Habits of a Highly Successful People. How he's seeing things. They're applicable, but only goodness. There is no bhakti there. And there are so many nice books that these philosophers have written. How they're able to see such things that are very helpful for people in passion, ignorance, knowledge. How they're having the knowledge, prakashayati, mode of goodness will reveal. You will see what works, what doesn't work. You will see the reaction of what. When a person passion, ignorance read, so he can gain from mode of goodness, people in mode of goodness. But people in mode of goodness are not the ideal. Most of the people, many people have their role models are like, people in mode of goodness. So it's again like blind following the blind concept only. So scientists, philosopher, poets, because they write, they philosophize, they see, they live a pure life, successful because they know what to do, what not to do, satisfied with minimum. Um, these are examples of goodness. Proud of their knowledge, you ask them, they go and do seminars, and they actually think they're better than others. Sense of advanced happiness binds them and keeps them in repeated birth and death. Because of that, they don't see a need to take bhakti, to take to Krishna. Why? They think we know what they are teaching. And God, okay, God is there. So they don't seriously commit to the path of bhakti, generally speaking. Feel a sort of material happiness because of improved living conditions. What causes the sense of happiness? Because one is more or less free from sinful reactions. I mean, if we do pap, we suffer. So those who don't do sinful activities, actually suffering won't be there. And then they have a sense of happiness. Passion binds by the rope of desire and attachment, expectation, attached to it, want it, hankering for it, longing for it. Characteristic type attraction between men and women. Advancement of modern civilization is considered mode of passion, like fashion, modern amenities, depending on more and more technological advancement, modern civilization. Mode of goodness, simple living. Some products of mode of passion wants honor in society, nation, uh, wants happy family with wife, house, children, everything settled, everything happy. Of course, this is not about devotees, but the people, goodness, children goodness, wife goodness, peaceful, no need of God, sense of happiness, knowledge, rights, speaks better than others, goodness. Took this want to be now this sorry, I'm talking about goodness, passion, happy with wife, house, children, big house. um my house is better than your house, bigger and better and more expensive and better neighborhood. My car is better than yours. My wife is more beautiful than yours, more humble than yours. My children are higher in education than yours. Passion. They compare, uh, and sense of happiness from those things. To construct a residence for sense gratification, I'll use for Krishna service, but then uh, mm, bigger and better. It's not simple living, goodness, hi-fi passion, show, because they want honor and they want to be respected. So passion. One works hard for a palatial house as if it is eternal. Ignorance, purpose, and Krishna says two means but. Prabhupada says implies this mode is a particular qualification of the embodied source. So Krishna explains mode of goodness, he explains mode of passion, and then when he says two, but this mode of ignorance, Prabhupada says this, but means most people are having these characteristics. Under the spell of ignorance, one cannot see things as they are. This is manifested as follows: madness, everyone is dying, but people are madly accumulating money, not caring for eternal spirit. Purpose is not seeing that the death is certain, and these things, like basically death is certain, but still they are trying to accumulate what they are going to leave behind, um, and becoming so busy with honor. Once we die, where does the honor goes? We don't carry any honor with us. I mean, people behind may say whatever they want to say, but then ultimately, what matters to us is, am I satisfied and am I developing my relationship with Krishna? Doesn't matter what people say. What matters is, for a person in, like, especially a devotee, he doesn't care what people thinks, but he cares is, am I absorbed? And how much am I able to remember Krishna? Because actually happiness does not comes from honor. Happiness comes from absorption for a devotee. So he does everything to please Krishna, to go closer to Krishna. And when I say Krishna, I mean Guru and Krishna. Lazy, not interested when invited to associate for spiritual understanding. You ask them, Prabhupada says lazy. I mean, actually, one proper reflection on lazy, because of proper pure Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada says lazy means you tell them, we have Bhakti Vriksha, and they say, we have this class. And, so they are lazy to associate for spiritual understanding. Then sleep, 6 hours sufficient, but in ignorance, one sleeps 10 to 12 hours per day. Always dejected because oversleep results in laziness. Um, Dejected means ignorance, like they have a dejected mentality also. Passion, they are really working hard. Like depression, ignorance, feeling dejected. Um, I'm like this, ignorance. Passion, I will attain. I will create wonders in this world. I will be known as the best personality. This is passion. Goodness, this is who I am, and I'm happy serving Krishna in my own way. Goodness, don't compare, but feeling dejected mode of ignorance, addicted to intoxicants and sleeping. When obstacles presented by the modes goodness, no impotence to take up spiritual life. Why? Because they are too happy and satisfied to do what Krishna says. Like Krishna says, do this, but they think, why? There is a need. I'm happy. Hard to be humble because they have a sense of superiority. Hard to learn because they think, I already have knowledge. I can give knowledge. Why do I need to take knowledge? Passion can't give a fruits. Why? Because wants to fulfill unlimited desires. So you tell them, don't work for fruits, Prabhu. Otherwise, it will desire for fruits, desire for results, attachment to results will lead to misery. They think, yeah, this is the cause of my misery, but they still desire the same. So it is said that intellectually we cannot go beyond the modes. By hearing about the effect of the modes is not going to put us beyond the modes. We will see how do we transcend the modes. It's the bhakti yoga only will purify us. And Prabhupada says Krishna consciousness movement is meant to create brahmanas. First come to mode of goodness. And we may have like some goodness. If you're practicing for few years, goodness may have increased. But then we will notice there is still significant amount of passion and ignorance also. And then it just goodness has to thicken, 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 thicken. And after a certain point of time, Krishna mercy will come more and more. And purpose, it's a gradual process. It takes time. Uh, they thus they become thus become very attached, especially when they get results. They are encouraged, so they want more results. Passion, often willing to sin to fulfill desires. I want it, but you may have to do something wrong if you really want it. That's all right. Nobody will come to know. This much is okay. But attachment to result is stronger than what is right and what is wrong. Thus cannot take up bhakti with determination. I mean, Krishna says one who is too attached to sense gratification, um, uh, um, resolute determination for devotional service does not take place in those people. Second chapter. Ignorance too deluded to recognize Krishna's instruction. Like they hear but they cannot understand anything. I met one person, initiated devotee, no names. I asked him, so Prabhu, how you came to Krishna consciousness? He said, I used to go to a program. He was a Western devotee. Then he said, for 1 year, I would go to the program. I would take prasad. I would dance in kirtan. I would hear the philosophy. For 1 year, I could not understand anything what they were speaking. So too deluded to recognize Krishna's instructions, cannot understand. Everything like just bounces off. I remember I went to Vrindavan. Um, I was sitting in a Bhagavatam class. This may be my first Bhagavatam class in my life, I guess. Um, from what I remember. So I was sitting there, hearing somebody was speaking. I had absolutely no idea what they spoke. And I was again and again seeing the time when this is going to be over. Absolutely no idea what they are speaking. So it's like too deluded with like covered the soul is covered to recognize Krishna's instruction. It takes time. Why? Because gradually that association, that kirtan, that prasad, that purifies. And then what we could not understand few years back, slowly now start, oh okay, oh yeah, oh yeah. So this is illumination. This is knowledge is coming now. And then too lazy to perform austerities. So this is purpose reflection about ignorance. Too deluded to recognize Krishna's instruction, too lazy to perform austerities. Okay, then recognizing a mode supremacy according to our karma, our work, our association, our choice of food, and so on. A particular mode becomes predominant with us. The kind of food we eat, that mode will increase. The kind of people we associate, that mode will increase. Like I have seen, if one of the spouse in mode of goodness, one of the spouse in mode of passion, then the result is the spouse in mode of passion will become more sober, and the spouse in mode of goodness may come down, may remain the same, just based on if that spouse take association or not. And that is same is true with generally devotee association. Association will change the modes based on whom we associate with. Passion, we'll feel like, and goodness, we feel like okay, satisfied. According to karma, another effect which mode is acting on us, our activities, because we see sinful action increases sinful proclivity. We want to do the sin again. When we do a sin, the reaction is suffering comes. Another reaction is our inclination to do that sin increases. So Today, whatever desires we have is because of we have committed these activities in the past a lot, and that's why we have these desires. And these desires are mostly either passion or ignorance. So our karma decides our modes, our association, our food, our work. What do we do? Um, um, Anyways, and a particular mode becomes predominant. So these modes are constantly changing. Someone in goodness today may go to passion based on these factors. Someone in passion today based on good association, good food, good karma, um, work in goodness um, can come to goodness. So these modes, they constantly change. That's why it's called recognizing a mode supremacy. Prabhupada says we can recognize based on the characteristics defined earlier. Modes struggle to dominate each other. Symptoms of the three modes, all gates. This is just some reflection, not going in detail because the summary is covered in that one slide that covers the entire chapter. Mm, all gates illumined by knowledge, mode of goodness, we say all gates. Purposes implies perception by the senses based on knowledge. We see from our senses based on if this is right or wrong. I'm seeing something, is it right or wrong? I'm hearing something, is it right or wrong? Oh, this is not bhakti. This is bhakti. So senses are illuminated. I'm speaking something. Is this conducive or not? Smelling something. Is this offered to Krishna or not? Or same with sense of touch, whatever it is, conducive or not. So this is called senses are illuminated by knowledge in goodness. Then they are clean. Keep them clean. Mm. Darkness and inertia implies not works according to regulative principles because they don't know what is right, what is wrong. And in fact, in future, Krishna says, what is wrong seems to be right, what is right seems to be wrong. So not work according. They don't care about regulative principles. Illusion. They don't know. So they're just doing what they feel like doing. So uh, this is called whimsically for no purpose, doing what feels good. Illusion, even though he has a purposes, even though he has a capacity to work, he does not endeavor. He can work, he can earn, right? But he's just lazy. Illusion, ignorance, just doesn't care. Something comes easy way, I will make things work. Otherwise, I don't want to take that endeavor. Passion, very much attached to results, so I want to work hard. Goodness, do the needful. Simple living, whatever helps to perform a simple living. Okay, any questions so far?
Yeah, Hare Krishna Prabhuji, please accept my humble obeisances.
Humble obeisances, Mataji.
I would like to ask one question, Prabhuji. May I?
Go ahead.
Okay, so Prabhuji, we were just discussing the three modes, right? Mode of goodness, passion, ignorance, their different characteristics. Now, does bhakti, like a person who will be coming to Krishna consciousness, does it depend on these modes? Like what I'm trying to say is, will a person in the mode of goodness have a more favorable chance of accepting bhakti than a person in the mode of passion?
Well, the Bhakti Sokrati is different from Karma, Mataji. It like Rupa Goswami says, Bhakti does not depend upon Guna and Karma.
Yes.
Bhakti is dependent upon Bhakti. How much Bhakti we have done before, that much attraction we'll have for Bhakti now. Bhakti give rise to Bhakti. Guna and Karma does not have any effect. They are parallel tracks. But Guna and Karma can make the Bhakti easier or difficult. Can make the Bhakti pleasurable or miserable. Effect may be there, but not the Bhakti itself. Example, person in mode of passion, he will be attached to the results of his Bhakti. He's doing Bhakti and he wants honor from Bhakti. Mode of goodness, he is doing it, he doesn't want anything. He is doing it because it's the right thing to do and he's trying to please Guru and Krishna. So one becomes more favorable, one becomes more self-centered. So self-centered bhakti will result to misery. Guru Krishna centered bhakti, which is like not looking for any personal gratification, will bring more satisfaction. So Prabhupada says, pure devotional service, mode of goodness is like a runway. From there you take off to transcendence. And people in lower modes, bhakti itself will bring one to a mode of goodness. Bhakti, Krishna consciousness is meant to create brahmanas. In other words, it will rise us to mode of goodness. But does being in the modes does bhakti depend upon them? No. Does it answer, Mata?
Yes, Prabhuji, thank you so much. My confusion got cleared. I had this doubt from some time before, but thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, any other question? All right. Then acting and dying this is the second last section. Mode of passion results in misery. I mean, these are, we discussed summary. Now we are elaborating from Srila Prabhupada's reflections on these. Mode of passion result in misery. Building a skyscraper requires so much toil and misery for little happiness, so much effort. And then there is not much pleasure in the result that comes. There is a feeling, yeah, now, yeah, I got it. A sense of eureka, yes. Now, see, I have this. Now, see, I sold it. I have this much money. But then that happiness doesn't stay. That's just a feeling of satisfaction. And then they again go into the mode of misery by working very hard day and night, toiling over so hard to gain another result. They cannot sit. They are just going to take all the misery to get more and more and more, accumulate more, bigger and better. And then the whole life goes in working hard only. And the only happiness is, yes, I was successful. Yes, I was successful. Yes, I got it. And when they cannot sell for a good price, or when things are not according to what they are running after, then they are completely miserable. I went into that loss. This was not very successful. Then they lament. And then they work very hard, come out of depression. And then, so in this way, they just keep toiling. Prabhupada says little happiness is there, some success is there, but the success is mixed. It's mixed with misery. And that success is not really it's it's temporary. Krishna says, um, yeah, it's temporary. And then one may experience so-called mental happiness. For example, I have this house, I have this much money. It's more of mental happiness, but then, yes, you have it. Are you happy because you have it? Does it gives you some happiness? See, now I have it. The happiness is only in procuring anything. And there is a transitional happiness. Yes, I got it. But then are you happy? Then you're not happy. So purpose it's momentarily, and it's more like mental. Mental means you go out and then you meet people. Then somebody's living in an apartment or not very nice home, and then you think, yeah, I have a nice home. So is there happiness there? There is no there is a mental happiness in that accusation. Just purpose is so-called mental happiness. There is no happiness in feeling, yeah, I'm better. So purpose is ultimately, but then huge loans to pay it, and then huge effort, and then work very hard. So mode of goodness, simple living, focus on Krishna Bhakti more. Then ignorance lead to misery and foolishness, leads to animal life. Animal life is always miserable, but under illusion, one does not understand this. How miserable we are also requires knowledge. Ignorance covers our sense of satisfaction or happiness, um, and we're just dragging along like animal. So, like people in ignorance think, what is wrong in animal life? The like person would ask question, what is the problem becoming a dog? So Prabhupada said, all right, you become a dog then. If you think there is no problem. Prabhupada saw a problem in becoming a dog. This person did not see a problem. Why? One is transcendence, naturally pure goodness, and one is in ignorance. So he doesn't understand. Animal life is it's just it's one is in knowledge, and one is somebody may say, yeah, I have a human life, but what is wrong with human life? Why do I need to go back? I'm happy. This is pure ignorance that Prabhu, you are thinking you are happy in human life. Right now also we are miserable. Then disease also will come, death also will come, old age also will come. And material happiness will just bring attachment, and then it's so hard to not when we don't get what we want. That also a misery. And we are already going through the misery because we want something that we don't have now. So misery is already accompanying, it's continuous. It's there in the end, and it's there in the next life also. But then out of ignorance, one don't see because no knowledge, one don't see in one things, what is the problem with human life? I'm happy. Why do I need to worship God? Why do I need to break cycle of birth and death? I'm happy with this. I don't see any problem here. Krishna is saying there's a big problem. You worship me, will come back to me. That's why you can break cycle of birth and death. We feel there is no need. I'm okay with cycle of birth and death. Passion, ignorance. So Prabhupada says animal life is always miserable under illusion, but does not understand this. We know the example of Indra became a pig. I'm sure we all know. He was thinking, it's okay, what's the wrong with it? I have my piggy and piglets, and I have my full empire, and everything is nice. And I have my stool to eat, and I have my kitchen to live in. Um, disgusting, disgusting substance to live in and to eat, and I'm happy with this. Then Brahmaji said, no, you are Indra, come. So he cannot doesn't see how this life is miserable. It just it's covering. Like today, if we have to live in that situation, it's misery for us because human life is mostly in passion, and I mean, human people living on human planets, humans, like Krishna says, mode of passion results in human life. But again, the goodness and ignorance are also there, and there will be all varied of people in there. Generally, passion is there. What problem we see in that, they don't see problem in that. We see problem in eating stool, they don't see problem there. Likewise, what we don't see problem, the heavenly planet, they cry seeing us. Cannot understand. Narad Muni is going and crying, these people are suffering in Kali Yuga. How can they be delivered? And we think, no, I'm okay, I'm fine. Krishna in the form of Mahaprabhu is becoming compassionate for us to call back. And we are thinking, we are fine. So what problem they are seeing, we cannot see. What problem we are seeing in the hawk cannot see. This is how, this is all illusion. One does not understand purposes. How does Krishna conscious help? One will develop the mode of goodness in the society. People will see things as they are. Every person thinks because of false ego that I see things as they are. A person in mode of good ignorance also thinks I see things as they are. A person in mode of passion thinks I see things as they are. A person in mode of goodness thinks I see things as they are. Because according to false ego, everybody thinks they are right, they have an understanding. But their understanding is ignorance, is influenced by the modes. So Prabhupada says how Krishna conscious will help you will actually see things as they are. And that's why how should we see things? How can we see things as they are? Shastra Chakshu, through the eyes of the scriptures. That's how you see things as they are. Then mode of ignorance, one does not see things as they are because no education, Prabhupada says, makes one irresponsible. One does not see the equal and opposite reactions of animal killing. But does not see what is wrong in that. So as per them, they are right. They have their own conception. So Prabhupada says, because of no education, Krishna consciousness is meant to give Shastra Chakshu. Shastra education. And when they get knowledge, with knowledge comes responsibility. When we don't know what is right, what is wrong, we do whimsically, we act whimsically. But when we know what is right, what is wrong, then we have the responsibility to do the right thing and not do the wrong thing. Now I have to take the responsibility because of knowledge. But Prabhupada says no education makes one irresponsible. Irresponsible for one's action. With knowledge, now we are responsible for what we do, what we speak, how we act, how we behave. We are responsible for those things. How we behave, how we speak, what we speak, how we act. Because now we are conscious. Now we know what is right, what is wrong. So we want to be right. But if I don't know what is right, what is wrong, then I will act, behave in a way that I think is the way, and I think I'm right by doing this. So with knowledge, then one understand, and then one does not do wrong things because one feels this is not right. So one feels a sense of internal responsibility. How to stop irresponsible activities and benefit the current civilization? Educate to stop irresponsible behavior. Education makes them sober, and one knows things as they are. Then one becomes happy and prosperous with education. What if all do not take to this education? Prabhupada said, what if not everybody take to this education of Krishna consciousness? Prabhupada says, even if a small percentage develop Krishna consciousness and become situated in mode of goodness, there is peace and prosperity all over. Few right examples. Prabhupada says that will improve the goodness of the entire nation. Few people. Mahaprabhu specifically said, Bharat bhumite hoite manusya janma ja janma sata kari karo paropkar. If you have taken birth as human life, become responsible. Do the right thing. And that will help benefit the whole society. We need good examples. Prabhupada says even a certain percentage, it will then peace and prosperity will permeate all over. Otherwise, under passion, there will be no peace and prosperity. If everybody goes in passion, makes one greedy and unlimited hankering for sense enjoyment, everyone is becoming like dogs and hogs and trying to snatch, trying to extract all kind of juices from mode of passion, from attachments. Even if one has money, he will neither be happy nor have peace of mind because under the mode of passion, his profession, occupation are very troublesome. In passion, even if he has money, because of the mode of passion, the misery will be there. Then he wants honor. He wants, what hi-fi. mm, He becomes critical-minded. Things frustrated. So even if one has money, because the pursuing mode of passion, he will not be happy. Krishna says passion leads to misery. Devise so many plans and schemes to acquire money to maintain his status quo. Oh, this is how I'm perceived in the society. I must act accordingly. Passion. Mm. Goodness, it doesn't matter how I'm perceived. What matters is Krishna does not have this thing of maintaining his status quo. He's not thinking, oh, what will people think if I take up the weapon? What will people think if I run away from the war of Jarasandha? People will criticize me for marrying 16,208 queens. And people do criticize, but Krishna does not have this thing of status quo, but he is doing whatever it takes to please his devotees. He has higher principles, and we also want to have those principles, is whatever it takes to please Guru and Krishna. Devise so many plans and schemes. Mode of passion works in a particular way. Transcendental works in a different way. Transcendental, he thinks, is Guru and Krishna pleased by this activity? This is what Guru and Krishna wants, let me do it. Mode of passion will think, well, if I do this, What will others think about me? How will I be perceived? If I will be glorified, I should do it. If I may be criticized, let me avoid it. It's not based on if it is pleasing to Guru and Krishna, then let me do it. It's like self-centered. Devise so many plans and schemes to acquire money to maintain his status quo. And ignorance makes one mad. Distressed by various circumstances, one takes shelter of intoxication and sinks further down. Future is very dark. What is ignorance? Makes one mad. Distressed by various circumstances, one takes shelter of intoxication. And he's in delusion, doesn't know what to do, what not to do, depressed, lamentation, drinks, go down. Happiness is only possible mode of goodness by practicing Krishna consciousness, not just by earning money. The last section, transcending the modes. One can transcend by understanding the science properly, by learning from proper souls. Prabhupada begins by saying, how to transcend begins by learning from proper souls, like Srila Prabhupada. Then Prabhupada says, real spiritual master is Krishna, because Krishna is giving this knowledge of three modes to Arjuna. And the knowledge actually comes from Krishna. And Krishna Vandem Jagat Guru. So Guru is there. Prabhupada says, what is the purpose of Guru? Guru means one who repeats what Krishna says. Guru means one who presents Bhagavad Gita as it is, without one's own interpretation. He is bona fide Guru. Guru means, Mahaprabhu's definition of Guru, Guru means one who knows the science of Krishna. Jai Krishna Tattva hoy, Sai Guru hoy. Whoever knows Krishna Tattva is a Guru. So from that perspective, you say Supreme Prabhupada says real spiritual master is Krishna, because the knowledge ultimately comes from him. And then gurus are a disciplic succession. They repeat the knowledge that is given by original guru, which is Krishna. Therefore, learn this science. Therefore, learn this science from one fully in Krishna conscious. Knowledge coming in disciplic succession. Otherwise, one's life will be misdirected. Result of realizing this knowledge, one becomes liberated, freedom from distress. One can relish nectar even in this life. And basically, one will enjoy on a higher platform. 3 questions asked by Arjuna. What are the symptoms of one who has transcended the modes? What is his behavior and how does he transcend? What are the symptoms? So Arjuna says, well, that is very nice. Arjuna wants to know if he has transcended or not. So he's asking Krishna, can you tell me what are the characteristics of one who is beyond the modes? How does a person who is beyond the modes, how does he behave? And those who are within the modes, how can they go beyond the modes? So Krishna explains, yes, there are certain symptoms of person who is beyond the modes. He is free from envy and hankering. He's not looking for a result to attain, and he does not dislike anyone. Neutral. Why? Because he is trying to serve Guru, he is trying to serve Krishna. No desire for or repulsion from manifestations of the modes, illumination, attachment, delusion. So no desire or no repulsion. Illumination means goodness. One of the quality of goodness, prakashayati, prakasha. The consciousness illuminate. You see things as they are. Passion, attachment, ignorance, delusion. So they represent the 3 modes. No desire for or repulsion from them. Basically, he's neutral to all the modes. This implies that as long as he's in a body, he acts neutrally. He is not affected by the modes. Engage in devotional service so that identification with body will be forgotten. He engages himself in Krishna conscious activities. If Krishna conscious activities, when we say Krishna conscious activities, means the activities performed in consciousness of Krishna. Those are Krishna conscious activities. Otherwise, there is bhakti also in 3 modes. But when it is done in conscious of Krishna, for the pleasure of Krishna, for the sake of Krishna, Krishna or his devotees. That is beyond the modes. Like, suppose I'm cooking for Krishna, it's not in goodness, passion, ignorance, or anything I'm doing for Krishna, or I'm traveling for Krishna, or I'm preaching for Krishna. Prabhupada says, I have come to America. I didn't want to come here, Prabhupada says. I was very happy in Vrindavan. I'm in my old age, I have 2 heart attacks. Death can come at any point of time. I don't know. Prabhupada said, I have no business coming here to this place. Prabhupada said, but I am bound by duty. My spiritual master has given me instruction. And that's why I have come here. So it's not in any modes. So as long as one does not need this body, nor need to accept the dictations of the body. It's like just based on a transcendental purpose. Everything is done. It's neither attachment nor repulsion from, like, we may be attached to something. It is said attachment and repulsion are two sides of the same coin. If we hate something, means we're attached to it. That's why we are hating it. Neutral means, Prabhupada says, you can have the object of attachment in front of you and you're not disturbed. When we are disturbed at something, then we want to avoid what we're disturbed by. And that's good. That's following the regulatory principles, trying to be safe, which is good for us. But a person beyond modes, he's unaffected. He does not have a desire towards enjoying any of the three modes. He does not have a repulsion. Prabhupada says we are trying to enjoy the modes. We are, like Krishna says, 13th chapter, we are the enjoyer of the modes. And as we enjoy the modes, we have auspicious and inauspicious births. Okay, equipoise, transcendental, and detached, knowing that the mode alone are active. So anything happens, he sees the mode is working. Somebody's upset, then he is not affected because he sees, well, he had a desire, it's unfulfilled mode of passion, that's where this is coming. Anything good, bad happens. He sees somebody, say, very proud, maybe because of the mode of goodness of the other person or mode of passion. And he thinks, well, the mode is active. He's not disturbed by any circumstances. He sees that only the modes are active. And he could see the functioning of the modes, the symptom of transcendence. Then how does the soul become aloof? He neither desires to enjoy the body nor desires to go out of the body. He's not attached to be in the body or to go out of the body. Like Lord Shiva says, the verse of Narayana Parayana. He can be in Swarglok, hellish planet. It doesn't matter to a pure devotee because they are happy in the act of service itself. You were discussing the Bhagavatam class, this thing. We saw the example of Chitraketu Maharaj. He is absorbed in the act of service, whether he become a demon or he is a devotee at Chitraketu. He is okay either ways because he's absorbed in the act of service. Then behavior dealing of one transcendently to the modes, steady in all circumstances, praise or blame, unaffected. Praise, he gives, like Prabhupada says, people are doing Guru Puja and Prabhupada is giving to his Guru. Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakati Sarma, Prabhupada is thinking. Yeah, Shri Guru, Lotus Feet of Saraswati Thakur. Shri Guru Charana Padma, Bhakati Sarma. Lotus Feet of Spiritual Master are the way to Bhakti. So praise and blame. People are criticizing Prabhupada. Prabhupada was unaffected. Honor and dishonor, happiness and distress, desirable, undesirable, steady. But one becomes unsteady. Now steady when it comes to personal gain. Do I want it? But if Krishna wants it, then Prabhupada will fight for it. Then he is not steady. So one must take a note of it. And Prabhupada said, I promised Krishna, I'll give you this temple in Bombay. Now I'm fighting for it. So we see Prabhupada was very much disturbed when Nair was cheating. And Prabhupada was happy when Nair died. So it seems like, but there is nothing Prabhupada personally wants. Is a temple for Krishna, Prabhupada will establish and he will go away. He's not going to enjoy staying there. He just wants to spread. He wants Krishna consciousness to be present in Bombay. He wants a center. His health is failing. This is the last phase of his life, last 1 year, and Prabhupada is fighting. So when it is for personal gain, there is nothing happiness, distress, desire, undesirable. But one takes all of these things and one is affected by all of these things. Krishna is in the center. Just like we say Krishna is Nirakar, without a form. Nirguna means nothing, no material aspects are there. Likewise, when we hear all these qualities, no material aspect. Material aspect means I am the center. That is not there. Krishna is center. Like Prabhupada says, your anxiety, he told Jayapataka Maharaj, your anxiety to build a temple for Mayapur will take you back home, back to Godhead. Deals equally with everyone and everything. Again, all these qualities have two facets: personal, Krishna-centered. Krishna-centered, Prabhupada was opposing those who, like he would, today we are reading a quote from Prabhupada. Prabhupada says, the job of a guru is to find fault. Guru should find fault. But Guru does not find fault for personal gain. Guru find fault because the disciple is not acting according to Krishna consciousness. Guru find fault because Guru wants the disciple to be trained in how to serve. The purpose a Guru find fault is not for his own satisfaction. It's for the sake of training and for the sake of service. So, but from a material perspective, he has nothing want from anyone. So from that perspective, deals equally with everyone and everything, stone, earth, gold, except whatever is favorable for his duty in Krishna consciousness. Deals equally with friend and enemy, takes anyone who helps him in Krishna consciousness as dear friend and not hates so-called enemies. Does not have any enemy, but he makes friendship with those who are helping Krishna consciousness. He's grateful to them. Equally disposed and sees everything on an equal level. Social, political issues do not affect him. Everything centered on Krishna. Knows that he has nothing to do with material existence. Knows the situation of temporary upheavals and disturbances. There will be ups and downs in this material existence. He is not affected. He feels for them, but he is not affected. Somebody dies. It pains him, but he is not still affected. He has compassion, but he is still unaffected. Ups and downs, somebody is mistreated. He feels anything happens ups and down material world. He feels for them, but personally that this is the nature of this material world. Material world is full of suffering. He knows the knowledge. So he just continues. Does not attempt anything. So social political issues do not affect him, basically. Does not attempt anything for his own sake, but can attempt anything for Krishna. Okay, I think this is the last one. Method of transcending. By unfailing pure devotional service, one can transcend, achieve Brahman. Unfailing means continuously, when things are done for the pleasure of Krishna, one can transcend and achieve Brahman realization. Why Brahman realization? Because Brahman realization means one goes beyond the modes. Brahman means one, like we will see, Prabhupada explains, Brahman realization means free from the contamination of three modes. Suggested solution for transcending the modes: transfer consciousness to Krishna activities called Bhakti Yoga, and not disturb your consciousness by activities of three modes. Qualification to serve, to be in Krishna consciousness, implies acquiring um, qualitative equality with Krishna, Sachitananda. Um, Means he want to become of the same nature, Sachitananda. Analogy, gold mine and particle of gold. Like Prabhupada gives example of Krishna is gold mine, we are particle of gold. Qualification to serve Krishna is to become Brahman. Prabhupada says, when we become Brahman, then we can serve Krishna. And Prabhupada says, Brahman implies to be free from material contamination. Achieve Brahman liberation means, like Prabhupada also says, pure devotional service begins after liberation. And liberation from material contamination is here referred to as Brahman realization. To become Brahman implies to be free from material contamination. Qualification to serve Krishna is to become Brahman means once we become pure, then we can do things for the pleasure of Krishna. And we are established in the understanding that I am a particle of gold and Krishna is a gold mine. Reference Prabhupada quotes scripture says one can attain the Supreme Brahman by becoming Brahman. Supreme Brahman is Param Brahman Krishna, and by becoming Brahman means not hankering after the three modes. Then one can actually focus on serving Krishna, but not does not mean losing eternal individual identity. Okay, Lord says, I am the basis of this. Is the last verse actually. Lord says, I am the basis of impersonal Brahman. This is the last verse of 14th chapter, where he established the relationship between him and Brahman. Characteristics of Brahman: immortal, imperishable, eternal, constitutional position of ultimate happiness. Immortal, Brahman is immortal. Imperishable, Brahman does not die because spiritual by nature. It is eternal, it is imperishable, and it is constitutional position of ultimate happiness. Like 18th chapter also Krishna says, Brahma Bhuta Prasanna Atmana Sochatina Kamshati. So Brahman is ultimate happiness. What does the word ultimate happiness refers to? Ultimate happiness refers to there is happiness in mode of passion, there is happiness in mode of it's passion of misery, there is some satisfaction, happiness that people in mode of goodness are bound by. People in mode of ignorance find their own happiness in sleep and intoxication. But then when one goes beyond, then that is ultimate happiness. From that perspective, he becomes prasannatma. He's actually, because all these three modes are binding, and that's why they're limited, and they have their own shortcomings. But if one is looking for happiness, then when one becomes free from three modes, then one can attain ultimate happiness. Brahman is the first stage of realizing the absolute truth. First living entity becomes impregnated. The Lord impregnates the spiritual living entity into the material nature. Glance, he transfers the living entity into the matter. Three modes capture him. Then how living entity elevates when the living entity thus condition begins cultivating spiritual knowledge. Then he meets devotees, he starts understanding. He gradually rises to Brahman conception of Supreme, which is he gradually goes beyond the three modes. And then Brahman conception is transcendental. At this stage, he's transcendental to material position. This is Brahma Bhuta stage. And then Krishna says, I am the basis of the Brahman. And then from there, Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma na sochati na kankshati sama sarveshu bhuteshu mad bhaktim labhate para. And once he attains Brahma Bhuta platform, no anxiety, no misery. This is from 18th chapter, but till it's here. No misery, no anxiety. Sama sarveshu bhuteshu, he sees all living entity as Brahman, spiritual. Mad bhaktim labhate para. Then he begins para bhakti, pure devotional service. That's the beginning of para bhakti. And Krishna here also establishes that Krishna is the basis of Brahman. Devotional service is the safest position. It includes all the characteristics of Brahman realization, which is imperishable, immortal, ultimate happiness. All these characteristics are there in Bhagwan realization. So devotional service is safest because Krishna is the basis of Brahman. So all those characteristics are there. It is a beginning stage of self-realization. It is the stage that we need. It is included in devotional service. This realization is by default included. Thus, realization of Brahman like eternity, imperishability, ultimate happiness are included in bhakti. And finally, one attains Krishna. Okay, so that's all we have. If there any discussion, we can take now.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandat Pranam.
Dandat Pranam, Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, in first section, the line I remember is that like Brahman refers to body, right? Atma refers to body, I think.
Atma can refer to anything. Body,
So
ego. Go ahead.
it's little confusing in the sense if we say it's a body, then the second chapter it says we are not body, we are soul. So how
Yes.
to understand that?
Like, for example, if I say, मैं जा रहा हूँ, what does the word मैं means? It may refer to body. It may refer to soul. So Atma means self. Based on different ignorance level, one may refer Atma to different things. But then once one comes to knowledge, then one in knowledge understand Atma is soul. But Atma can also be referred to body. Prabhupada says based on the context. Is it all right?
Yeah, so it means that Atma connected to that body for the time being.
Well, our understanding of Atma is soul. Prabhupada says Atma means self. So based on what one's understanding of self, one may refer in Sanskrit Atma to body. Atma means self. Like I. Who is I?
Prabhuji, excuse me, is it not Atma you are referring is Jivatma? That is Atma covered with mind, false ego, intelligence, all these things. So
Yes.
pure Atma is a soul, but Jivatma is bound by the subtle body. Am I
Yes.
correct?
Yeah, that is correct.
Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Anything else? Any other question? Discussion?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam.
Prabhuji, in the last slide, when we talk about Brahman, what is that Brahman that Krishna is talking about there?
Yeah, so Krishna says,
I mean, which Brahman? Sorry.
What is that verse? 1426. Ananaya Chintayanto Mam. No. Anyways, so Krishna says by Ananya Bhakti, by unfailing devotional service, one can go beyond the three modes and one can attain the stage of Brahma. And Prabhupada says there, one can attain the stage of Brahman. And then Prabhupada says Brahman means one goes beyond the three modes, one is liberated. Stage of Brahma. But just going beyond the three modes does not make us a pure devotee of Krishna. Even Brahman realized beyond the three modes. Vaikuntha people who go Paramatma realize they're also beyond the three modes. Bhagwan realize who go to Vrindavan, they're also beyond the three modes. So Brahman is beginning of self-realization. And then Krishna says, I am the basis of that Brahman, which is imperishable. So what is Brahman refers to? Prabhupada says to become Krishna conscious, one have to become Brahman. Prabhupada says in the purport. And to become Brahman means to become liberated from the three modes. And from there, Krishna says, I am the basis of that Brahman. Then you begin your Krishna consciousness. Question.
Yes, Prabhuji, I'm just trying to understand that.
देखो प्रभु, you see my screen?
Yes, Prabhuji.
देखिए, वही है ना? देखो, माम चैव व्यभिचारेण भक्ति योगेन सेवते सा गुणा समति त्यायितान ब्रह्म भूयाय कल्पते. When one engages in full devotional service, unfailing in all circumstances, at one transcend the modes of material nature and comes to level of Brahman. Level of Brahman means he transcends the modes of material nature. And then the next verse, Krishna explains that I am the basis of that Brahman. Brahmano hi pratishtaham, where he says, and I am the basis of impersonal Brahman, which is immortal, imperishable, eternal, and constitutional position of ultimate happiness. The happiness which is beyond the three modes. And there Prabhupada says, and gradually rises to the Brahman conception of the Supreme. This attainment of the Brahman conception of life is the first stage in self-realization. And this one is transcendental to material position. Basically, he is beyond the three modes. If he wants, he can continue, Prabhupada, and then later on, I want to show something else.
So, Prabhuji, for the same reason, if someone is beyond the three modes, like a pure spirit soul, that is also called Brahman. Is that correct?
Can you say that again, Prabhuji?
Prabhuji, what I was asking is, so with the same understanding, if something is beyond the three modes of material nature, like pure spirit soul,
Yes.
is also called Brahman.
Brahman means spiritual. Brahman, like as you are referring in the beginning, Prabhuji, Brahman can refer to Krishna. Brahman can refer to the soul. Here, Brahman refers to one goes beyond the three modes. He attained the level of Brahman. And Prabhupada says Brahman basically means, I'm trying to say, I think Prabhupada says in the 26th. This means one must qualitatively become one with Brahman. Yeah, see here. Thus the qualification is to become Brahman, or free from all material contamination. So Brahman here means free from material contamination. Going beyond the three modes, Brahman realization. And then from where, Prabhupada said that is a beginning step. And then Krishna says, I am the basis of that Brahman.
Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Make sense?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Anything else? All right. Thank you very much for joining. If I spoke anything wrong, please forgive me as a humble servant. Panchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. अनंत कोटि वैष्णवेंद्र की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, दंडवत प्रणाम। प्रभु जी समाप्त। हरे कृष्ण।
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Thank you,
Dandavat pranam.
Prabhuji.
Hare
Dandavat
Krishna.
pranam. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Hare Krishna।
प्रभुजी धन्यवाद प्रणाम।
दंडवत प्रणाम माता, हरे कृष्ण।
Thank you, Prabhuji. Dandavat pranam, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Hare Krishna।